Hey everybody, welcome back to On the Grid, and what I want to do today was show you a quick way to clean your brakes without having to remove it from your rig, and it's something that takes literally about 5 minutes. I usually do this whenever I find the brakes not smooth or they're getting a little gritty or grainy feeling, and so that's what I want to show you today. All right, let's get started. So first thing I usually do is I'll just grab a can of air spray and I'll start cleaning it up, make sure that there's no dust in the way, because one of the most important things is when you do pull the cylinder or when you're working with any of the electronics, just make sure that there's no dust sitting around. It's going to go inside, and then just wipe it off with the microfiber cloth. Keep it nice and clean. From there, I'll just use my screwdriver. I have a little 11mm socket that I use in there. Make sure you put your hand underneath so you don't lose the washer, because if that falls down, it's kind of a pain in the butt to get that. Now, be really delicate with this. Don't put any tension or pressure on it, or pull on it. You can just let it hang over to the side. It should be fine. I use my 2.5mm Allen wrench, and this will just loosen up the screw that's holding the rod in place so that you don't get any movement or any play in the brake pedal. I'll just use that same Allen wrench. Just pop out the rod. Then just make sure you tighten the preload screw all the way down so it makes it a lot easier to take the rod out. Gently lift up the vibration motor without putting too much tension on it, because you want to make sure that you're able to remove the rod without doing any damage to the wire. So just keep it lightly held in place. From there, just make sure you start unscrewing the brake preload screw. Just roll it all the way up. To the end, it'll come out, and then just let the PU foam slide out. You'll feel it'll be quite a bit dry, and so that'll be something we'll definitely take care of with a little bit of lube. Now, what I do is just take a cloth and just wipe off all the excess on each part, the elastomer, the PU foam, and just make sure that they're nice and clean from any grease or any lube that's in there. And then I run just a little bit this down inside the cylinder just to make sure that there's no gunk or anything kind of accumulating inside there. And that's usually where you get a lot of the accumulation that causes the roughness in your brake pedal. I do sometimes use a PTFE lube like this from Muck Off, which is a dry lube. It works really well. In most cases, I use the lube that comes with the brake performance kit or the one included with your ClubSport pedals. Really, all you want to do is just make sure you get a nice light amount over each element. So rather than putting a bunch on the rod or on one element, I just put a little bit on each one and just make sure I work it through really well and just get a nice coating around each one, and then just put it back into the preload. And finally, I'll do the same thing to the rod, just apply a light amount over it and work my way all around the cylinder and on the edge. This will really ensure that you're getting enough on each of the parts and nothing ends up too saturated. Now just wind the preload screw all the way down. It'll make it a lot easier when you put the rod in and attach all the pieces. And one key thing here is just make sure that the screw is facing on the upper side and not on the underside, which is how it comes by default. This will just make it a lot easier for you to remove it. Make sure you hold the washer in place with your thumb just so you don't end up losing it or dropping it on the floor. Put the screw back on and tighten it to a point where there's not too much tension, and just so you don't have the vibration motor turning. Then all you have left to do is start winding out the preload screw until you have no movement in the brake pedal. And I usually just keep testing it as I go to make sure that I have enough tension. But once you actually use your foot on the brake, you'll know if you need to adjust it a little bit more. Now for the acceleration or the throttle, I just do a quick maintenance on this unless I find it really bad, but that's very rare that'll happen. So just take the two screws off the back, pull off the back part of it, and then just use your thumb with your finger. Make sure you wipe this nice and clean, the actual rod and the inside of the housing. And then just same thing, you can see it just putting very little amounts in it. I do it on a regular basis, like every month or every 2 months I'll do it. So I really don't need to load up too much. Now just push the spring back on the same way you took it off. And then from there, just grab your end, put the screw in and just wind it up. And that's pretty much it. So I hope this helped you guys figure out a quick and easy way to take care of your brake pedals. As always, appreciate you guys watching. Catch you guys again very soon. Take care.